Welcome back to day 2 here in Singapore. Today we're going to be exploring the Marina Bay area, the Singapore Flyer, the Merlion and the Gardens by the Bay. So stay tuned. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another day here in Singapore. If you're new to the channel, my name is Oliver. On this channel I'm talking everything about lifestyle, finance, travel and living life abroad. Right now I'm on the famous Raffles Hotel in Singapore and we are planning to head down to the Marina Bay and check out the Merlion and the famous Marina Bay Sands Hotel, as well as the big ferry wheel in Singapore. Can't remember the name, to be honest. Check out this hotel, super nice. And as I understand it, this is also the hotel where the famous drink, the Singapore Sling, was originally invented. But our day is actually starting out in the Kampong Glam area of Singapore. The reason why was, is that this is the area that we stayed in last time when we were in Singapore about 5 years ago. Stayed at a hotel nearby and we found the best breakfast place in Singapore, in our opinion, called Tolido's Espresso Nook. So we're going to be trying that out again before going back to Marina Bay.
Tolido's Espresso Nook is a small and super popular breakfast spot in Singapore, known for its excellent coffee and hearty meals. It's almost impossible to get a table without waiting, as they don't take reservations. We were lucky to be seated after just 20 minutes of waiting. Quick stop at Haji Lane, a colorful alley known for its street art, cafes and indie shops. Just around the corner is the Civil War Memorial, honoring civilians who died during the Japanese occupation in World War II, a solemn but important place in Singapore history.
It's so hot and humid here in Singapore, so every time you go underground there's just a whole community. People are dancing and playing indoor sports and roller skates and everything. Too hot outside. So we have made our way down to the Marina Bay area with the Marina Bay Sands famous hotel in the background. Marina Bay Sands, it's a huge hotel. I think it's one of the most expensive here in Singapore. It was finished in 2010, as I understand. And my first visit here in Singapore in 2005, it wasn't built yet. And the whole Marina Bay area, there was literally nothing other than fishing boats and stuff. But this hotel in the background has 1,850 rooms, and it's in 3 main buildings with this big boat-alike top where you can go for a sky walk, and there's an infinity pool. And actually the overhang you can see here is a 66-meter overhang. It's pretty quick and crazy, to be honest. Down here it doesn't look like anything, but when you go up there, it's pretty wild. Also, there's a huge casino inside, and as I understand it, the hotel was the most expensive hotel in the whole of Asia to build, costing a whopping $8 billion US dollars to complete. So the main skyline of Singapore just behind me is actually not the central area of Singapore, and also the Marina Bay is not the actual Singapore centrum. It's slowly becoming that way, especially for tourists. But the big skyline behind me is primarily big banks and financial business districts. And just behind me you can maybe see the Merlion, so let's head over there. Standing here in front of the famous Merlion in Singapore, which is Singapore's official landmark. You will find it on many different kind of merchandise and football teams and beers and everything. The Merlion was built in 1972 and later on moved, and then they built this small bridge here a few years ago for all the tourists to enjoy it. As I said, the Merlion is Singapore's official landmark, but I will argue that the Marina Bay Sands in the background has slowly taken over of being the landmark of Singapore. If you see a picture of Singapore, you see the Marina Bay Sands, you'll instantly know you are in Singapore. Everybody's standing here on the bridge looking like complete fools trying to get this Merlion to, I don't know what. So it's pretty funny today. We're actually walking in our own trails from 2018 when Susan and I visited Singapore last time. We've been doing actually exactly the same thing that we did on one of our days last time. And we have posted it on our old travel channel, Suali. And Victor has been watching a lot of our videos and been complaining a little bit about him not being with us at the time, but he wasn't born. So we promised him to go back here so he can experience everything himself. But right now he's just sitting there with his headphones on and his iPad, and he couldn't care less. So, but Susan and I are still having a great time today, but Victor is stuck into his iPad. He's only been sleeping for around 6 hours this night, so he's a bit tired as well. So anyways, don't want to argue with him, so it's what it is. So the whole of Marina Bay area is actually called Marina Bay Park, and it's actually walkable, so you can get all the way around from the Merlion all the way to Marina Bay Sands and the museum that we are planning to visit later on if Victor is awake. But you can walk pretty easily all the way around, and also with a stroller. It's pedestrian streets all the way around the harbour area here. Fun little fact here, if you probably know Mohandas Gandhi, which is also known as Mahatma Gandhi, the Indian guy who was fighting for equality and dignity for his people in India. He's actually buried, or his ashes is sprayed here in the harbour of Marina Bay.
We stepped inside the Shoppies at Marina Bay Sands, probably the most luxurious shopping mall in Singapore. High fashion, big brands, and thankfully strong air condition.
So we're back at our hotel. We walked all the way around the Marina Bay Park, which is about 3.5 to 4 kilometers if you walk the direct route. We didn't, so I think we've been walking for a minimum of 5-6 kilometers today, and it is extremely hot outside. So tomorrow we're gonna be going to the art and I think it's called Science Museum in front of the Marina Bay Sands Hotel, and also going through the Singapore Wheel and seeing the gardens by the bay. That's gonna be tomorrow. So stick around, see you tomorrow. Okay, so it's the day after. Had a good night's sleep yesterday. We walked for about 9 kilometers or so on my step tracker. So today we're gonna be seeing the rest of the Marina Bay area that we missed yesterday, and I think we're heading for the art and sci-fi museum outside of the Marina Bay Sands first. Maybe we're gonna take a detour, let's see, but that's the plan anyway. made it back down to the Bay Area just below Marina Bay Sands, and we're standing in front of the Art Science Museum, which shouldn't be as boring as it may sound. Should have a lot of stuff indoor for kids to play around with, so looking forward to it. And if you don't know where this is right now, it can be a little difficult to see, but the big, I think it's a flower, lotus flower looking structure. You can see it from the distance. That's the museum. But let's go inside and check it out. So we just went inside, and inside the museum they have two exhibitions. One is on the top floor, which is right now some sculptures and stuff, nothing for kids. But in the basement they have this exhibition called the Mirror Mirror, which would be super fun. So let's check it out. Prices to get in. You can get in as a family, 2 adults and 2 children for 76 Singapore dollars, which is the same as 2 adults and 1 child is. So yeah, okay price, considering that we're in Singapore.
Take your time to observe and enjoy. Interact and play.
Okay, we start out with the yellow door. Wow.
Your steps is very hazy.
Huh? Just done with the Mirror Mirror exhibition at the Art Science Museum, and yeah, super nice experience. I would say there's about 1 hour of entertainment at max, so nice but short. So right now we are heading towards the gardens by the bay. We're actually looking forward to that because in our previous visits to Singapore we actually never been over here, so we're gonna be checking that out. I don't know if it's because we came directly from Thailand, where we've been in Bangkok with the movie for about 3 weeks. And we have been to Singapore before, and we know that it's expensive here, but I think they are pushing it a little bit, especially on the Marina Bay area. It's a little Americanized. The museum, for example, pretty hefty sum for 1 hour of entertainment, and they have 2 exhibitions in there, so they could easily just have made it a 1 ticket to see both exhibitions. I'll say that would have been fair. But anyways, now we are heading towards the gardens by the bay. Sitting here at a small community garden just right next to the Marina Bay Sands Hotel, while Susan and Victor is checking out a playground. And one of the reasons why we went on this 1 month trip here in Asia was to, of course, take a bit of a vacation, but also checking out Asia 2025 and see if we could potentially be moving out here. Our plan is to move to Bangkok if we can get all the visas sorted and the school for Victor and stuff. But while we are here in Singapore, I can't help comparing Singapore to Bangkok a little bit. It's only a 2-hour flight away from Bangkok, but yet the difference is enormous. I would say everything is a bit more, how to say, civilized here. You know, the traffic is a little more in order and there's a pedestrian streets and so on. But still, I actually think that Bangkok is way easier to get around in, also with the stroller. In one of my earlier videos, I said that you should be a bit careful when going to Bangkok with a stroller, or if you have some kind of if you're in a wheelchair. But everything is much more easy. In Singapore, everything is up and down and into a shopping mall to get out on another street and to pass the roads. There's you have to go below ground and above ground, and when you're inside one of these malls, your Google map doesn't work anymore, so it's super difficult to get around. And also, I've been to Singapore 2 times before, and I haven't been noticing the price levels before. Maybe because it was just been a 2 or 3 day trip on some of my Bali trips. But everything here is just comes with a cost, and it's not cheap. You sit down for a croissant and a coffee and a juice, and it will set you back 50, 60 euros every time you sit down somewhere. Compared to Bangkok, where everything is, no, not everything, but a lot of stuff is cheap. You don't have to think about money when you're in Bangkok. When you want to spend a lot of money in Bangkok, you go to Michelin restaurants and so on. Okay, you choose to, like today, I'm spending a little bit extra. But here is just everything is super expensive. You go to a 7-Eleven in Thailand, you ever been to Thailand, you know you can take out more in a 7-Eleven than you can carry, and it won't even be 1,000 baht. Here, you grab 4 or 5 items, and it's 2,000 baht, Singapore dollars. But if you, yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. So yeah, Singapore is super nice, and if you have kids, the Sentosa area comes with a lot of things to do. But I would say 3 to 5 days here, max. Then you've seen most of it. First time I was in Singapore was in 2005 together with my mom. We were here for about 3 days. I was way younger. I was 17 years old at the time. And then we went to Bali afterwards. That was before they built this whole Marina Bay area. And last time I was here together with Susan was in 2018, before Victor was born. So we went to Michelin restaurants and had a great time in Chinatown and went around. We also went to Universal Studio. And this time, together with Victor, a lot of the stuff we're doing, of course, with him in mind. So Universal Studios again. We went to this art and science museum, which is also for adults, but especially for kids, I would say. And of course, with everything happening in the world, prices also went up a bit since last time we were here. But anyway, Singapore, nice place to come, but 3 or 4 days, and then I think you've seen most. Right, time is almost 6 o'clock, and sky looks like it will be raining soon, so we'll be heading back to the hotel after spending around 4 hours here in Gardens by the Bay. I actually misunderstood the whole garden a little bit. I thought it was a place you just walk into and stroll around for an hour or two, but it's actually a whole attraction by itself, where I would suggest that you come here early morning and then spend the whole day here. There's a lot of attractions inside. There's a big flower dome, there's a sky bridge and a lookout post, and a lot of stuff to do in here. We just went to a Jurassic Park themed restaurant with a small mini show that Victor enjoyed. So come here early and bring your checkbook and your gold credit card, and you will have a lot of fun here in the Gardens by the Bay. But yeah, I think the rain is coming soon, so I'll be wrapping this video up. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then please consider smashing the like button, and if you want to see more of my content, then please consider subscribing as well. But we are gonna see each other on the next one. Bye bye.